ShartimusPrime. Reading comics, toys are hella sick, hella whacking it, taking bad hits, taking bad shit. Subscribe for more things.
Hey, you got all those arms over there. Can you give me a hand? Hey, what's up you guys? ShartimusPrime here, doing another Marvel Legends action figure review on the 2018 Spider-Man Wave Spider Build-A-Figure. If you're trying to pick up this set, you can do so at
Big. Get your big badass toys at BigBadToyStore.com. Click the link in the description below.
And I want to give a big thanks again to Xmanny87 for helping move this channel along and helping me get a hold of this wave a little bit early. Anyway, this has been a pretty fun wave so far. Not my favorite, but still pretty decent. The head right here, that came with the Cloak figure. The body came with Dagger. The right arm came with Daredevil. The left arm came with the Scarlet Spider. The right leg came with House of M Spider-Man. And then the left leg came with Elektra. So let's go ahead and get this thing built. Will you take us away, Bumblebee? Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and what did you think of the BAF art, by the way? Not the craziest, but I kind of like it. I don't know. I like this. Anyway, knocking it all over. We just plopped we gotta save the head for last. Get the left leg on here. Actually goes on a little bit easier than I thought. And then the right leg right on there. And then we can get this right arm on here. And then we go ahead and just pop the left arm on right there. And then we get the head on the figure, and now we have the spider all built and completed and not looking too bad. I really didn't expect this to be a Build-A-Figure. I would have never seen this coming. I would have assumed the Japanese Spider-Man would have come first. That's my preference as far as spider mechs go, but this isn't too bad looking, and I'm not really familiar with the character, but I did read up on it, so we'll get to that in just a minute. But overall, I just gotta say, it's not a bad looking piece, and we do get some pretty good articulation on this figure, and we get some nice paint apps and sculpting as well. So let's get a closer look. So before getting onto this spider mech right here, I just wanted to show an image of the Japanese Spider-Man I was talking about, or the mech from the Japanese Spider-Man, and it did show up in Spider-Verse as well as that TV series from the 70s, I think. And this spider mech is very obscure. I looked up several covers of the Spider-Verse, which is how I know about this figure, or this character anyway, and very seldom shows up, and I did find one cover all the way in the back over there. You can see the spider mech right there. But anyway, this is from Earth 14516, so it's from a different dimension, and the mech is operated by Penny Parker. At age 9, her father died piloting the suit, and her aunt and uncle, Ben and May, encouraged her and convinced her to man the suit because she's the only one who can operate it and continue on with the project, and she let herself get bit by the spider that allows her to operate the mech, and she's teamed up with Daredevil from her universe, and of course this mech was part of the Spider-Verse. Now looking at this head sculpt, I do like it. This whole figure kind of has a feel that reminds me of the Hulkbuster Build-A-Figure from Age of Ultron. That's kind of like the vibe I'm getting like with this paint right here, and it doesn't look too bad. Could be shinier, I guess, but I like it. You know, I like the lines that we see sculpted on the sides right here. The yellow paint for the eyes came out looking pretty clean. There's no bleeding or anything like that, so I'm pretty pleased with that. And while it's not made with any metallic paint, it's still very shiny and very glossy, so that is very cool. Then I like how we get some silver tubes right over here in the back, like the little tubes and parts and things, you know. I dig that. For some reason I want to peel this back, but it won't. It won't. Looking on the inside, you can see more tubes, so that's pretty cool. Get the arc reactor right there. That's not an arc reactor, is it? I don't know exactly. But we get some nice gunmetal gray right there. I like that, and we'll see it more throughout in the plastic of this figure. You can see it more right there on the ribs and everything. A little bit of marbling, but not enough to really upset me. Yeah, it's there, but not the worst. You get these emergency bars and everything on the side, so that looks pretty good, and I like all the etched in details right here. So I like that. I like these big spider hands. That looks pretty good. Looking on the back, looks like you get some boosters and things going on. So yeah, I would like to know more about this mech, and from what I've seen, it's a very agile mech too, so that's pretty cool. But there's other characters that I would have rather seen, you know, I don't know, from Spider-Verse, like the, like the Spider India. That would have been cool to have. Hopefully they make one. Or the, what do they call it, Lady Spider, right? The May Riley Spider. That would have been cool to see too. So eventually, hopefully we get those. But looking at the legs, they look pretty cool. you know? I don't know about these heels. This always kind of throws me off, but it is accurate to the design of this mech, so, you know, I can't hate on it too much. And I like how we get some nicks and scratches right here on some of the metal parts, so that's pretty cool. I do like it. A lot of good things to like about this, but just an extremely obscure character. Yeah, I really like this metal that we're seeing right here on the inside of the legs, and a little splotch right there. And we get spider butt. So while I have some gripes with the articulation, I mostly like the articulation. It's supposed to be a very agile mech. You can get the head looking up that much, which is pretty good, and you can get the head looking down that far. You get forward and back shifting, which is very helpful. You can make the head rotate side to side, and you can tilt the head a little bit, so there is some head pivoting going on, just very subtle head pivoting. Now these shoulder joints are a bit frustrating. They will move out just a little bit, but due to this being a Build-A-Figure, they will pop out pretty easily. So you can just get the arms or at the shoulders to move outward that much, and they'll move in that much. You could rotate full 360, of course. We have a bicep swivel, single jointed elbow. Really wish we had double jointed elbows. I don't see why we could not have double jointed elbows on this. It looks like there's plenty of room for it, because that really would help a lot. And for some reason, the left arm only bends in this much, but I can get more of a bend on the right side. See, that shoulder pops off. So you can see I get 90 degrees over here, right? That's about 90 degrees, but definitely not quite 90 degrees over there. So that's extremely frustrating. I don't know why that is. Yeah, I guess they just had too much. Yeah, well, I can see it right now. There's just a little bit more plastic right over here on that joint. So, yeah, that's irritating. We also get a swivel on each side of the wrist, and all hands move up and down. There's no interchangeable hands, just the two hands. You get rotation right here at the diaphragm, and you get diaphragm pivoting, and it'll crunch forward that much and back that much. Hip joints can only move outward that much, and you kick all the way up, which is great and pretty cool, and back. And there's no thigh rotation at all. So I was trying to get that to move, but yeah, would be nice to have a thigh cut right here. We get double jointed knees, and then the ankles can move down just a little bit and up a little bit, and you get side to side motion, and there's no ankle pivot on this figure, so I'm bummed out that there's no ankle pivot. Also, I wish this red piece right here can shift up and down. I wish this was a separate loose piece, because it really hinders the figure's feet from moving up, and that really hinders a lot of posability. So that's one of the more frustrating things. Not actually just the ankle pivot, but the lack of ability to move the feet forward. Now to measure out this spider Build-A-Figure with the legs fairly extended, you can see that it's standing at about 9 inches tall. And then for a size comparison that I think is very necessary, we have the spider Build-A-Figure next to the Franklin Richards Marvel Legends figure that came with Mr. Fantastic, or I think this was part of a box set. Yeah, I think this was part of a box set. But anyway, he's supposed to be about 10 years old, and Penny Parker was 9 years old when she first started operating this mech, so, you know, we saw that image earlier of her standing on top right there, so I think that scales okay. It's not supposed to be an enormous mech or anything, it's just, you know, you're supposed to be able to fit a 10-year-old in there, or a full-grown adult because her dad died using it, so, yeah, I think the size of it is okay. And then here's the Spider Build-A-Figure next to the Marvel Legends Age of Ultron Hulkbuster figure, and while this guy is not nearly as massive as this one, they do stand at about the same height. And then here's the Spider Build-A-Figure next to some other Build-A-Figures we've recently received from Hasbro. We have the Apocalypse Build-A-Figure and the Lizard Build-A-Figure. I still need to try that mod with getting those knees straightened. That really annoys me that I cannot get those knees straightened out. And then comparing this Spider Build-A-Figure next to the only other Spider mech that I have in my collection, we have the Spider-Man figure from 3A. And then here's the Spider Build-A-Figure next to only some, not all of the Spider-Verse characters that we'd seen in the Spider-Verse storyline. Silk, Spider-Man Noir, a regular Peter Parker Spider-Man, Miles Morales Spider-Man, Ben Reilly Scarlet Spider, Spider-Woman, Spider-Punk, and Kane Scarlet Spider. And I believe Ben Reilly Scarlet Spider actually had different attire during Spider-Verse. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he'd gotten this after the Spider-Verse storyline. Ooh, that makes me think I'd like another Spider-Verse character, please. If you could, Hasbro, make us a Ben Parker Spider-Man. That would be awesome. And then here's the Spider Build-A-Figure next to all of the other figures from this wave. And I gotta say, this is a pretty solid wave. Not my favorite wave, but I still like this wave. A good run of figures over here. Anyway, we have Doc Ock, all new, all different Daredevil, not the Marvel Now Daredevil, thanks to the person that corrected me on that. We have Elektra, Cloak, Dagger, House of M Spidey, and the Kane Scarlet Spider. And coming up with this list was very, very difficult for me to do as far as which is my favorite to least favorite, or least favorite to favorite actually. And I'd like to know what your least favorite to favorite is in the comment section below. So here we go. At the very bottom of the list, I gave it to House of M Spider-Man. I love Spider-Man, but this version is just, it's just very foreign to me, and I'm not really that excited to have it. Of course, I'm going to add him to my Spider shelf. It's another Spider-Man figure. Spidey's my favorite superhero. So yeah, I do have use for him, but just not the one I was looking forward to. And he doesn't have interchangeable accessories to make up for it, so that was a bit of a bummer. Second from the bottom, to many of your surprises, Scarlet Spider. I really like this figure a lot. I like that we have the 2 interchangeable heads. I like the added stingers that we have now, but I didn't really have that big of a problem with my previous Scarlet Spider figure. Not enough to warrant getting a new version, so I just feel like, okay, well, I'm just gonna probably put this one in probably the same pose that I had the other one and replace them on the shelf, you know? So I really didn't need this figure, even though I do like it, and it is a good upgrade. And then third from the bottom, I'm giving it to the all-new, all-different Daredevil. QC issues galore. You can see that pin still sticking out of his arm, and the warped knee, and the warped arm over there. But I really like that we have new boots and gloves on this guy. That really made me happy. So that's why he gets a third from the bottom spot. And then next, I'm giving it to the Spider Build-A-Figure. I'm not that terribly familiar with the Spider Build-A-Figure right here, or the Spider mech anyway, but having a new character to add to my Spider shelf is always fun, and I did have a lot of fun posing this around. I like having this very nimble, agile mech, but there's still a lot of things that bothered me about it. I mean, it's pretty tricky to have stand up, you know what I mean? Just that alone bothers me. Next, I am giving it to Dagger. I really like this Dagger figure a lot, but I have 2 gripes that really stand out to me. That's mine came with 2 left feet right over there, so that's very frustrating. And then the slits right over there are just way too high. You know, they should have made those a little bit closer. You know, you took away my cleavage. I like the cleavage, Hasbro. Why'd you take away the cleavage? And then next it goes to Cloak. I really love this Cloak figure. I think it's awesome. I'm very happy to have Cloak and Dagger, but the Cloak impressed me because I was able to do more things with the cape than I originally thought I was. So if you hadn't seen my photo galleries of Cloak and Dagger, please check them out. I had a lot of fun with the Cloak figure. And then the number 2 spot, and this is very, very hard for me to get my number 2 and number 1 spot set up. I'd actually shot this clip right here several times, and I'm giving the number 2 spot to Elektra. I absolutely love this Elektra figure. It is just a beautiful figure, beautiful face sculpt. We've needed a new Elektra. This newer version right here, I think they absolutely nailed it. Wish she had double jointed elbows, but otherwise, I really love this figure. Plus the new size, they look fantastic. And then the number 1 spot, as many of you probably already speculated, goes to Doc Ock. Even with all the disappointments and all, well, the number 1 disappointment really just being that we don't have bendy wires in these tentacles, or some other form of posability. You know, I would have taken another form of posability aside from bendy wire, like I'd mentioned, you know, having cuts in the tentacles. That would have been pretty cool, but no. And it's very, very frustrating. I mean, man, they did a great job giving us a new body mold. I love the new body mold, but one thing you realize when you're posing around a Doc Ock figure is that you're really more interested in posing the tentacles than the Doc Ock figure itself. So this upgrade isn't really utilized as much as I'd like it to. You know, I wish they'd put more attention into getting posable tentacles. It's cool that we can add the Toy Biz tentacles on this. That's neat and everything, but you need another figure for that. And I'm probably going to pick up 2. I'm definitely going to pick up 2 of these Doc Ocks because I want to have more posing options as far as getting those tentacles done, you know? So yeah, a little bit frustrated. I reluctantly give him the number 1 spot. Just reluctantly, just because, oh man, I really wish they gave us those bendy wires. But anyway, again, I would like to know what your list from bottom to top is. Let me know in the comment section below. Then comparing this Spider Build-A-Figure next to your average 6-inch scale figure, we have the Marvel Legends Big Time Letdown Spider-Man. Ooh, I want to ride the robot. I'm gonna get in the robot. Okay, so how we can? I don't know how to get into. I gotta give you guys a big thanks for watching my video. I really appreciate it when you guys come over here and hang out with me on the ShartimusPrime YouTube channel, as well as when you hit that like button if you like the video. And please leave a comment down below letting me know your list from bottom to top of the figures from this wave. And I also appreciate when you guys hit that subscribe button as well as the notification bell to make sure that my videos pop up in your feed. This is a pretty cool looking Build-A-Figure, man. I like that I'm able to get him into very agile poses. It's not a bad piece at all. Not one I was really looking forward to, but one that I've actually grown to appreciate the more I've played with the figure. So it's actually worked out pretty well for me. I actually like it, you know, not my favorite from this wave, but still a good piece. And I gotta give it a SUD rating of,
It's not too bad.
because I do have my qualms with the figure as well. Keep in mind, it doesn't really stand too well, thus the stop motion segment that you just saw, but it's still a pretty good looking piece, man. Again, I still like it, but I have problems with it. Not a bad figure, not a bad wave, Again, let me know what you think in the comment section below. If you'd like to see a photo gallery of images, it's all over at marvelousnews.com and ShartimusPrime.net. And don't forget to follow me on the Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch. Links to everything I talked about in the description below. I'll catch you guys later. Peace!
I'm gonna play with my toys today. Well, I don't care what my people say. I'm gonna play with my toys today. Can't have one, I gotta get them all. Time to make a trip to the local mall. Oh yeah!
That's crispy.
Hey, new Shartimus Prime videos. Hey, you should click one. Yeah, click on one of them. Or subscribe if you haven't. QC issues go